Hello and welcome to Back to Basics Homestead. My name is Annie. I am from Canada, for those of you who has not catch up on that, and I am in the province of Quebec, Zone 5, just to give you a perspective. Today I want to talk to you about a subject that I did not really truly understand the importance until I would say a month ago. I knew it was important because I did mention it in a video when I started my channel earlier on this year, perennials. So today's video is about perennials. I'm gonna say probably similar things that I said before, but now I actually understand this with the deepest meaning. Establishing a perennial garden I thought was important, but now it's beyond important because I am completing my 4th growing season and I am starting to collect raspberries. I'm also starting to collect artichokes. Yeah, artichokes. They're little a bit, but on my 4 plants, I'm probably gonna have maybe 10 out of my four plants this year. My asparagus are super small, so I'm not gonna go down that road. That I'm not gonna have anything. Probably not even next year. Maybe next year will be the starting of my 3rd year with my asparagus started from seeds, so I'm not even gonna see that. But this is 3, okay, yes, my sons and my kids actually picked in it, but this is about 3/4 of a quart, and I go every 2-3 days and I fill this up and then I freeze it. I just put it in a freezer bag and I just put it in my freezer for smoothies. When I started, I didn't think that raspberries, strawberries, blueberries, any type of bush berries was important, but now that I am going outside and collecting almost a quart every couple of days and put it in the fridge, and this is only 1 row. My early season raspberries are completing their 2nd year, so next year it's going to be their 3rd growing season, so that's when I'm probably going to be in the prime for those. So my 2 15 feet long raspberry rows will be in their prime next year. So I have 1 full row for early seasons, well, that's what the tag said, so unless there was an error, and I have 1 full row of late season, and in the 2 rows I have 2 colorfuls raspberry. I have black, which is the first one that comes in, then I have a red and a purple that's supposed to be early, and then the ones that I'm collecting now are, I would say, a little bit more than red. They're changing, they look red, but then when they ripen, they're a little bit darker. And then I have a yellow one. So I'm gonna bring you outside. I'm gonna start picking, and I'm just gonna show you what I do to freeze them. So let's go outside. I have ladies requesting raspberries because the bad ones I just throw them. And I also have some volunteers that popped in my rows of raspberries. Those are amaranth. So I let them do their thing because they did welcome a lot of pollinators. So the red ones that are here, these I got them, so they're completing their second year, the red ones, the autumn fall ones. So they're not as in their prime as my yellow ones. I transplanted them early this year, and they're doing okay. I'm not gonna complain. Like, I have raspberries. The years past, like, I think I ate like 1 or 2. The yellow ones, like I said, they are in their third year. I planted them in the fall last year, and they had the entire fall to get established, and then I fertilized them in the spring, and then they came so strong. Like, I've never had raspberry plants reach my neck, close to my neck. Like, I'm 5 foot, almost 4, and this is almost to my shoulder. And my yellow ones are a little bit higher. The only thing I'm gonna say that I didn't do, that's gonna be my first priority next year, is to have some sort of cage for them. Like I did it for my black ones, my black raspberries. I have like a cage here that's containing the vines. So I did that there. I didn't think I was gonna need them for the raspberries this year, but definitely if you're growing raspberries, have some sort of support for them. So it's one, easier to pick them, to harvest them, and you can walk in your rows, because right now I can't walk in my row. It's because I'm gonna get stung, because I have the varieties that has like little spurs here. I don't know how you call those, like they hurt you and they grab on your clothes and stuff like that. So that's the only thing I didn't do that I am planning to do next year. So I'm going to continue harvesting, and then I'm going to go in the house and I'm going to show you how I freeze them. I know I'm probably gonna get this question. I don't have the names of the varieties that I have. Only one I have purchased 3 plants. The purple ones from Versailles Seeds. I can either add the image here, or I will add the description, in the description below, the variety that I had. So the yellow one, I bought 2 plants, 1 died the first year from like a person that was selling them, like not a recognized nursery. And then I went to a second place that was selling same thing, like a person that had too much, and I bought them like $1 a plant, I think, or $2 a plant. So I might have 2 varieties of yellow ones. And then a friend of mine, her in-laws had way too much, and they gave me 10 plants and a bucket, and I didn't have a place to put them, so I let them in the bucket, and I think 3 or 5 plants survived, and they're looking great. They were transplanted earlier this spring, and they were little shoots, so those ones I'm not sure. Another question I'm probably gonna have is, how did I establish my 15-ish, 16 feet long plants? So every 18 inches I planted a baby in my rows, and between my rows I have about 3.5 feet between 3 feet, 3.5 feet between my rows, so that I can pass the weed eater and fertilize them, and like I said earlier on, to make some cages. That is the way that I planted my raspberries patch. I lost track of how much plants I have now. I probably have over, like, between, I started with 2025, I will probably have more next year, because you have babies every year that gets planted. So another thing I did is I took rabbit manure, aged rabbit manure, and I've added it to amend my beds of raspberries. So that's what I did. It was not too complicated to get this established. So now that I've said all that, I'm gonna bring you inside. We're gonna wash these and we're gonna freeze those. Okay, so we have our raspberries. I'm just gonna wash them quickly. Normally I would do this in my sink, but I have a water ban again. We had a problem with our water system in my town, and for about a week now I have no drinkable water. So I have to boil my water so I can wash my things. So normally you wouldn't have to go through this extent to wash your berries before you freeze them. So I'm just giving them a good rinse. And I'm gonna let them air dry before I freeze them. And I'm just gonna remove the raspberries that has like bad spots, like insects had a taste in them, and I give them to my chickens. They love them. And on the cookie sheets, I just prepared a cookie sheet lined with parchment paper. And I'm just gonna continue doing this until like my bowl is completely empty. And then, see, the reason why I rinse mine is because of bugs. There's like a bug in here, and since I don't use any type of pesticide, herbicide, or anything, this is why I choose to rinse, at least like give like a big rinse my berries, so I don't eat bugs. There's worse things in life, but I prefer not to eat them if I can get away with it. So I'm gonna continue doing that, and I'm gonna show you the next step. Some people don't do this, they just automatically take their berries and freeze them because they skip the air drying part. Okay, I'm done. So almost a quart gave me all that. I'm gonna do one layer of the raspberries, and I'm gonna leave them on a counter to air dry a little bit. And then I will just stick this in the freezer for a couple of hours, and then put them in the freezer bag I showed you earlier on. So once they are in their freezer bag, you have a couple of options. I do smoothies with them. The kids will snack on frozen fruits. We went blueberry picking earlier on this year. I did the same principle. I washed them, put them in freezer bags, and they actually eat them just like that as snacks. You can later on gather the amount that you need and then do jam, jellies, and juice and can them. I might give a try at jam. I've never done raspberry jam, so I will probably try at least one recipe to see if we like it. I'm also going to try something else that, when I was looking into ways of preserving raspberries, was dehydrating. From what I've read, with the oven, it was 24 hours minimum to dehydrate them. So I will give it a try and make the kids try it, see if they will enjoy it for snacks, for school snacks, because I am introducing them more and more to dehydrated fruits. Because the school, especially for my youngest, if I have an apple, a full apple, he still he's still young, so a full apple, he'll probably have a hard time eating it. So I've been giving him dehydrated apples and he seems to enjoy it. It's easier, he just has to open the container and just eat it. So I will be trying that, see if the kids enjoy it, and it will be a healthy meal that came from the garden. And I will let you know how that goes. I could film the process if that's something that interests you, but it's basically the same thing. You would wash them and then put them on your dehydrator or in the oven for the amount of time that it needs to reach the dehydrated consistency. So this is how I am freezing my raspberries. And I'm just gonna say one thing. Before, I didn't understand the concept of having a perennial. I didn't really know what I was doing 4 years ago. So I read that you need to plant strawberries. I did. And someone gave me a early season plant, and I had my mom, and I went to the nursery with my mom, or I can't remember who, it's probably my mom. I went to the nursery and there was a special on ever-bearing strawberries, and I didn't really know. I just planted them mix match in 3 rows in my main in-ground garden. Well, there is different ways to deal with ever-bearing strawberries that you're doing with, there's not really anything that needs to be done for early season or a season defined strawberries. Well, now I have to restart my strawberry patch because I don't know which plant is which. I didn't recognize the flower color of both, and I've been analyzing them this year, and I'm not able to recognize which one are the ever-bearing and which one are the early bearing, because the birds, unfortunately, I think I saw 4 strawberries this year. The birds ate them all, or the kids ate them all. So I'm gonna restart my strawberry patch. I will have an area for early bearing strawberries and another area completely different with my fall strawberries. I like to have 2 batches so that I don't have like an amount bountiful and like I'm of strawberries earlier on the season, and then not have enough time to process it, and then that divides a little bit the work in 2 for me. So I will not say it enough, establish a perennial, either herbs or fruits, and bush type berries is not that complicated. I have 1/3 of an acre. I have 15,000 square feet, and I have 2 rows. I calculate, I think it's either 15 or 20 feet of raspberries, and I need to add blueberries, a row of blueberries, and I will have 2 15 feet, 2 times 15 feet, so that's 2 rows. No, sorry, scratch that. I will have 4 rows of 15 feet of strawberries, 2 rows being early and 2 rows being late. And I will have fruit throughout the summer because having 2 types of varieties, early and late, it not only helps you preserving those fruit, it helps you have fruits all over the season. So you start with strawberries early, and then I have the black raspberries, and then I will have the early varieties of either blueberries or raspberries, and then since I'm planning on adding multiple varieties of blueberries, I'll have different types, different blueberries coming out of the garden, and then later on in the season I'll have another batch of raspberries. And right about now, producing late season strawberries would give me strawberries. I probably would be towards the end of strawberries. So it would make me have fruits all over the season. I am not able to establish an orchard. My neighbor has an apple tree, and unfortunately it leaned and the root system was rotten. So now my apple tree has no pollen. I won't be able to pollinate next year, So I might have to purchase a dwarf apple tree. The one I have is a dwarf, but I might have space for 2 pear trees, and that would be the end of my orchard, because like 15,000 square feet is not that big to establish an orchard. So bush berries is the way to have fruits all over your growing season. So if you didn't start planning your perennial garden, now is a good time. There's a lot of good deals. I am probably going to the nursery next week. My nursery last year had a 2-for-1 for blueberries, so I got 4 plants of blueberries. There are specials on fruit trees, and it's just before the frost hits. It's the perfect time to establish fruit trees and berry bushes, because they're gonna have a good start in the spring. And asparagus, same thing. I've seen crowns being sold cheap last month in a box store. I think it was Home Depot. Same thing with ever-bearing strawberries. I saw some at Home Depot. They were on sale. There's clearance. So it's a good time to actually look for these things to get a head start for next spring. If like you missed out on those deals, just keep an eye on the in early spring. Versi Seed has some, your local nursery will have some, and you can start establishing a perennial, either if you have the space for trees or for bush berries. It takes about 2 to 5 years for berries and fruit trees to get established, and for you to have a bountiful enough to have enough to can. Like this is about 3/4 of a quart every couple of days. So for me to preserve them, I have to freeze them and be patient until I can have like a couple of quarts, and then have enough to use them fresh and either use them for juice, jellies, jams, or whatever recipes I want to do, pie fillings and stuff like that. So for me, this is why I choose right now to freeze them. But next year, I'm crossing my fingers that I will have a good harvest every couple of days, so that I can have enough to preserve them other than freezing them and dehydrating them. So I hope this helps. If you have any questions on anything I said today, don't be shy. You can put them in the comments below, and I wish you have a wonderful day. Bye.